Welcome to Cooking with Me with Rob. That's me. I'm Shannon. And today you're probably wondering, boy, Rob looks so much prettier than he normally does. That's because it's me, Shannon.
Anyways, you saw the introduction. That's the best part of the whole show. Welcome to Cooking with Me with Rob. That's me. I'm not Shannon. And the real star of the show is here. If you wanted beauty, you would go watch something else, some Shannon show. But anyways, we have a really awesome show for you today because we are still trapped inside. But Disney can still bring you joy. Did you know that? They can. And this is what we're going to do today. Are you ready for it? Disney Churros. I might have spit when I said that. But you know what? That's okay, because you know you're doing really good talking when you speak moistly. Plus, it's pretty hard to say churros without speaking a little moistly. Anyways, so today that's what we're making. We're making churros. And let's get right into it because we don't want to waste time. I saw a Disney video on how to make these churros, and it was like 1 minute long. So if you want to do this fast and boring, go watch that one. But if you want to have fun with me, Rob, that's me, then let's do it. All right, let's go. First, what you're going to need is a pot. They call for a saucepan, but I just like to break rules. I'm a rule breaker, so I'm just going to use a pot. Now, right off the bat, what you're going to need is 1 cup of water. Now, if you are health conscious, you should use Brita water, but I don't have, I do have that, but I don't want to use it because then it's cold and then it'll take longer to boil. I'm not health conscious, so I'm just going to use 1 cup of that water. All right. Now, this part, I'm going to eyeball this part because I'm getting pretty good. So, look, that's a tablespoon, right? Now, we need 8 tablespoons of butter. But, you know me, I like my margarine. So, 1, 2, probably 4 actually. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now that looks like too much margarine, I think. But you know what? Like I said, does it need to be perfect? No. It just means it's probably going to be more delicious. Now we need 1/4 teaspoon, no, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. There's no 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Oh, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. If you did 3/4, that'd be some salty churros. We might need to, okay, wait, you'll take that out, right? Okay. Okay, what you need is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Don't do more than that, because if you do more than that, it's going to taste a little bit salty. While we do like salt with our sugar, too much is crazy talk. Okay, now what you need is 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. But do they make a 3/4 of a teaspoon? No, they don't. So what you do, tip number 1, use math. What divides into 3/4? 1/4. So you use the 1/4 one how many times, everybody? That's right, 3 times. But don't do that now because your directions say that these are divided. So if you put 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon in now, that's going to be 2 cinnamony. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pot of stuff and you're going to bring it over to your stove. And then, now, this is a little thing that you need to pay attention to. It's very important. We'll call it tip number 2, even though it's in the directions. If you're a guy like me, you're a get-her-done kind of guy. So you're going to want to put it on high and just go for a boil, but don't do that. What you need to do is set it at medium. And then you're going to bring it to a rolling boil. But don't let your wife distract you with shenanigans, because if you do, it's going to burn. Okay? And then if it burns, you'll have burnt, gross churros, and you don't want that. We'll be right back. All right. So, welcome back to the show. That's a rolling boil, and that's what you want to get. So, as soon as you get it to a rolling boil, you're going to take it off the heat. Yeah, that I knew. I knew that. I've decided that I'm going to take that off the heat, because that's what you do. And then you put in a cup of flour. Okay. Do that. All right. And then this is where you got to get busy, everybody, because you need to now stir vigorously or intensely. Any kind of synonym for vigorous really works in this situation. But you gotta go. Like, you can't just you can't mess around, people, because you gotta go. You gotta go vigorously. It's very, very, very important. Like, look at the vigorousness. It's probably the best vigorous stirring you have ever seen. And when it's all a big ball, like you got in one big nice ball, you're going to let that sit for 5 to 7 minutes. But let's just do one more really good vigorous stir. This is where you don't want that moist talking to happen. It goes right into your food. Okay, so now my timer went off, so I hope you set your timer. And here's a nice little tip for you as well. We're not going to call it tip number 3, but it is a good one. Use a nice heating pad rather than an ugly one. Okay, so we've got this nice... that smells nice. We have this nice dough. And now we need to put in 3 eggs. This is where I get to shine. Now, this is where you should practice your 1-egg crack, which you probably learned from my episode before when I did the 1-egg cracks. Whoa. You just toss it off to the side. You don't care. You're too busy cracking eggs, right? Me too. Yeah, see? That's pretty good. Now, wash your hands. Wash your hands for 30 seconds minimum. Okay. I stopped counting. Now, stir. Stir that together, people. And if you happened, you know what? If you messed up a little bit in your one-handed egg crack, that's okay. This is where you need to search out those shells and get them out. The turds. We just got to stir this until it's homogenized. You know that word from our other episodes as well. Man, we learn a lot on this show, don't we? Me and you together. Now, this is going to infuriate you. But, you know, like we always talk about on Cooking with Me, with Rob, that's me, not Shannon, that anything worth eating is gonna take some work. This is where you can bring back the vigorous. Don't do it right off the bat. Don't vigorous right off the bat, because then your eggs are gonna fly all over the place. But this, once you get it going a little bit, and hey, if you want to employ your wife to come and do a little bit of the stirring too, that's okay. All right, now that we have okay, that looks really, really good. Look at that. That is the homogeneity that we are going for. Now listen, you're going to be tempted some point while you're stirring with your spoon to move over to a whisk. Don't listen to that devil on your shoulder, because as soon as you do, it's going to clump in your whisk and it's going to take 500 years to get it all out. How do I know that? You know, when you've been doing this kind of thing as long as I've been doing it, you just learn some of the tricks of the trade. Okay, I think that's spectacular. Now, you're going to need a medium saucepan or that thing. You kind of sometimes got to use whatever you've got, you know? And what this calls for now is 1.5 cups of vegetable oil. Don't use olive oil here. Some of you health freaks are going to say, I think this is a great opportunity to use that olive oil that everybody's been talking about. But if you do, ew, that wouldn't taste very good. Do you eat olives in your churros? Nope. If you get a bottle too that's faster than this stupid bottle, that's always a nice thing too. Okay, yeah. Let's turn that on. And we're going to heat that up. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to take this awesomely homogenized, I think I used that word too much today. We want to take this stuff and put it into our piping bag. That's what these are called. Okay, now there's 2 ways to do a piping bag tip. Okay, we're going to use the star tip, but look, there's a metal star tip and there's a not metal star tip. Which one do you think I want? I want the big one. But first I'm going to show you how to put this one on because it's really pretty neat. So you're going to stick this plastic piece on the inside. Then you're going to put this other part around your metal part. And then you're just going to do that. Boom. You're ready to pipe. Okay, but we don't want to do that. So if you find that you don't have one of those couplers, as they're called in the biz, then you're just going to have to grab one of these, pop it in, and let it go all the way through. All right, now we're cooking. And there you go. You can just pop it in like that. And it's going through. You're ready to rock. Okay. Now, tip number 4. Grab a spatula. Now, the tip of it is that is a spatula. That is not a spatula that many people think. That is a flipper. That is a spatula. Okay, now just grab it. This helps if you have an assistant. And get that in there. I have a tip. This is tip number 5. Get a cup and then fold it over. Then you can take it and do something with that. And just do that and get that going. Yeah. And you can just keep popping it in there. And if it goes off the side a little bit, who cares? Because it's still in the bag, really, technically. So now we're going to take this over to our oil, which I want it to get a little more crackly. It was crackling good. Now, it's not as crackly. We're just going to take it. And this is where you can use your cooking shears. Okay? Very, very, very important. In times like these, you need to make sure things are clean. So, if you decide you're going to use your cooking shears like I have decided, you clean them. Probably for 30 seconds to a minute. And then we can start doing the fun part. Where we go, woo, look at that, that's a churro. How long do you want it? That long. How long do I want it? That long. Whee! This is amazing. You can try and make fun little thingies if you want to. Like, let's try, oh no, this is going to be hard. Woohoo! It did it. All right. Okay, so now we've got them cooking in grease, but here's what I think you should do. You make sure you go in there and give them a little flippy flipperton, because the Disney doesn't tell you to do that, but I'm telling you to do that. Because, see? Look at that. You want to make sure that both sides get got. Okay, so you need your slotted spoon for this part. Very, very important, because you don't want to start dumping oil into your business. Grab your little churros. You need to make sure that they're nice and crunchy. They got to have this nice golden brown sheen to them. Very, very important. Okay, so now we have to make our delicious part of the churro, and that is the sugar and the cinnamon. Now I'm just going to go ahead and use my margarine, ½ cup, because you need a ½ cup of sugar, and you say, well, clean that up. I'm like, no way, man, because that just adds to the delicious. And if you go a little over, like, yeah, who cares? So you've got your ½ cup of sugar, and this is where you need to now use your two other 1/4 of a teaspoons of cinnamon. Sprinkle that on there. And I think that this is where the whisk really comes in handy. Don't just shake it like a fool. Okay, so now we're going to take our sweet-shaped churros, and we're going to put them in our cinnamon and sugar concoction. I like to call it a concoction. It makes it seem magical. Like Disney. And you know what? If you're the cook, this is the perfect time to that's a good thing. All right. Just get the last bit on there. And there you have it. It's the perfect Easter treat. Like I always say, there's nothing that says Easter like churros. Cinnamony? Cinnamony. Am I saying it right?
Cinnamony.
Oh, I am saying it right.
Yeah.